Hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Women at Work series, Women Entrepreneurs. My name is Hanadi Mohammed, and I will be your moderator today. I am the Innovation Manager at Al Khaimah Foundation, and I'm excited to be hosting this session today. The Women at Work series is designed to inspire and assist working women in Ras Al Khaimah and the whole UAE to build stronger professional support networks while learning from the experience of others. Before I hand over to our speakers, I have a few housekeeping items to cover about the webinar platform. If you have a question for our speakers, please ask it through the Q&A tab at the bottom of your screen. We will be answering all your questions at the end of this session, but if we don't get your question during today's session, we will make sure to follow up afterward. This session will be conducted in English, but feel free to ask your question in Arabic if you prefer that. Another thing regarding the screen view, you can adjust your screen view as your performance. If you would like to see the speakers only, see all the speakers, or you prefer to see the person who's talking only, you can click the view gallery at the top right of your screen. So I would like to kick off by welcoming our speaker and hand over the mic to them. To start with Anna.
Thank you, Hanadi. Hi, everyone. I'm hearing a little bit of feedback. I'm wondering if we should mute our microphone.
So yeah, we will mute the mic and we can take some turns. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you. And I know some of the people in the attendees list, so nice to see your names. So I'm Anna. I am co-founder of a company called Bond Education. We are learning designers and we develop custom educational programming for companies, governments, and foundations, especially in the youth and employee and community engagement space. I've been living in the UAE for 12 years and Bond Education is 11 years old and it's been based in Ras Al Khaimah all 11 years. So nice to meet everyone.
Hi.
Thank you, Anna. So we will go with Azza next.
Sorry, I just missed, I was on mute. So just, you want me to introduce myself?
Yes, please.
Okay. Azza Al-Khaimah, I'm an artist, multidisciplinary artist. I enjoy creating and connecting through workshops with the community. I create wearable art, sculpture, wall art, and enjoy working with a lot of many different materials. Maybe some of my favorites are the palm branches and creating as well sustainable furniture from them.
Thank you, Azza. We'll go with Nadia.
Okay, my name is Nadia Branford. I am in the F&B industry for the past 7 years. I run back of the house operations as well as create the brands from scratch, create the branding, develop menus, and I'm just a big foodie all around. It's nice to meet everyone.
Thank you, Nadia. Mika.
Hi, my name is Mithal Khayat, and I'm a mom and a children's author and illustrator. I have started illustrating and writing children's book in 2009, and right now I have about 170 children's books published. Most of them are in Arabic, and I also have some in English and some translated in Italy and Turkish. I love doing storytelling. I spent, before the COVID, I used to do a lot of traveling, going to schools and enlightening and inspiring children to just love books and dream. So I'm so happy to be welcomed here, and thank you everyone for introducing yourselves, and I'm so excited to be with you all.
Thank you all for the great introduction. So we will begin our panel discussion by starting my first question to Anna. What do you love most about your job?
What I love most about running Bond Education is since we develop a lot of educational programs across the country, is taking an idea and then making it happen. And so there's been a number of programs where I can remember the jog where we came up with the idea or the brainstorm session, and then fast forward a year or two later, and maybe thousands of students have been impacted or thousands of employees, and that is what excites me. Yeah.
What about you, Azza?
For me, I think as an artist, I feel very lucky being able to express myself in creating my art, reflecting on my identity, creating sculptures as large scale, small scale. But I think usually it's the large scale sculptures in public spaces that I feel very happy about, because I share them with the world, and not just exhibited in a temporary period, so everyone gets to enjoy them and engage through the artwork or the sculptures that I create. So to me, it's a self-expression.
That's great, Azza. Sorry, like it would be highly appreciated if we can mute our mic so we can see, listen to each other clearly. So, can you make a share what the best thing about your job as well?
Well, as for me, it's because I'm a mom. I think the best thing about my job is that I'm my own boss. I can take breaks whenever I want. I decide when is the working hours. When my kids are sick or when my kids need to go out, I can just leave whatever I'm doing and just take care of them. So that guilt at least is off my shoulders. So I think this is the best thing that I like about my job. And the other thing is that I feel I still stay young forever. I'm a dreamer, and when I write children's book, I just feel I'm always a kid.
That's great, Maysak. I would love to hear from Nadia as well.
So I realized I forgot to mention what I'm actually doing now. So I run Burj Bakery in Dubai. We've only been open since August of last year. So I think what I look forward to every day is the fact that I get to create a brand that brings joy to both our customers and our employees. So watching, hearing, and reading customers' reactions to our baked goods, that's the highlight of my day. And then also watching my team become a family and seeing my employees happy and fulfilled is another highlight of my day. So I think in short, it's just bringing everyone around me joy through the brand that I've created.
That's really exciting to hear. So can we move to our second question? Like, what motivates you most? Anna?
For me, it's seeing people experience the joy of learning. I think, in the same way that Maitha talks about how she stays young with her kids and writing, because we're involved in so many programs related to youth or workforce readiness or, upskilling employees. I think when I see a person really connect with either an aha moment or really feel like, like a fire has been lit under them, like there's some passion they've connected with, and they kind of have this glow around them. When I see moments of that in our work, and that is really exciting to me. I used to always be the teacher, and now I'm less and less the teacher and coordinating a team of people. But when I'm out and observing and seeing these programs in place, that's what most excites me, is seeing individuals get excited about learning or developing themselves or becoming better people in the world.
That really motivates everyone, Anna. So thanks for sharing. What about Azza? Azza, you are muted, sorry.
Sorry for that. To me, it is very similar as well. When I engage with the community through my art and my exhibition, or even my product design, when somebody comes over to me and tells me that I inspired them through what I do, through the lifestyle that I live as an artist, it all comes up together to be the real motivation behind me waking up every day. And in the same time, as Meta, as an artist, I'm able to take full control of my time. I do a lot of my art around my kids. So that's also another motivation for me. I can even see the differences between my art before being a mother and after being a mother, and how much I changed as well as a person. So the motivation comes from the people around me, my own family, and it just makes me fly when I hear somebody telling me I'm becoming an artist or I'm studying to learn design because you inspired me and my parents allowed me because you exist. I mean, that makes my day, and who would not be motivated for that?
Totally agreed, Azza. Yes. What about Nadia?
So for me, I was thinking about it today, and I think my motivational factors are dynamic. So either where I am in my career or where my company is in its life cycle. So when I started Birch Bakery and I was thinking of like a brand name and colors and the design of the seating area when we had the cafe, that was just exciting in itself. The creative process, that was my motivation every day. And then when it came close to launch and the first few months of launch, the motivation was the adrenaline rush and the daily excitement. And if I'm being honest, I feel like a few months or a year down the line, things get stale. And I can't rely on motivation alone. Um, so at that point, I just focus on improving, and that becomes a motivational factor. But it's always changing depending on where we are. Currently, because we had to shut down the cafe because of COVID, we're now operating out of our bakery, and we've had to adjust and change our business model. So I'm currently in the honeymoon stage, where everything's exciting. And I think in the F&B world, the one constant is customer feedback. That's always motivating, but I feel like there's always different stages to it.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Nadia. What about Meta?
Well, it's actually a bit of everything of my fellows have mentioned. It's the aha moment. It's the customer, uh, reaction. It's the children, my children telling me, wow, mom, we love your drawings. Mom, we want to be like you. It's a bit of all of that. But most of all, my motivation is that, to see the children's faces light up when I say or create something that is relevant to their culture, relevant to the environment that they are living in. Because most of the time, children always read and see books and even watch cartoons that are from the West or from Asia. But there's rare that they see things that are relatable to them, something about their traditions and culture. So when I go and do storytellings at schools and a kid sees a man going fishing like a fisherman, says, my dad is a fisherman, or my uncle goes and brings us fresh fish. So it's just these things of connecting, the children with the world around them, and yet relating it to their specific world.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Meta. So I just want to move to the other question. It's like if you want to share what was the best and the worst career decision you have made. We will start with Azza this time.
Sorry, I was not with you. What was the question? I don't hear you.
What was the best or worst career decision you have ever made?
I can't remember them all. They evolve. But I think the best part is trying to make the team around me, especially for my design production, make them my dream team, or at least try to find my dream team, has been a mission since the start. I think that has been, I've seen the good and the bad through that experience over the past 15 years. I mean, there are a lot of positive things that I've done, but I think it's very hard to see something just specifically to mention it. But I think one of the best things that I've ever done is try to listen to the feedback that I always get, or not just the feedback, just listen to people around me. That allowed me to evolve my business. I mean, as an artist, I don't really depend on just my art to be independent. I do design, product design, and I think through listening to the people around me through exhibitions and festivals, I was able to develop a lot of things develop my business around it, which continued to give me a lot of things that I wanted, which is the control over my time and running the business. And I think one of the recent best things is being able to cope with the COVID situation and push my business to the next stage. And I think that is online and as well engaging with the community and keeping the workshops running. So I'm soon to launch that. So I think it is something I've already been thinking of, but this is one of the things that I feel advantages that I got from COVID.
Yeah, that's
as a decision.
So maybe Anna, if you can just share with us your best or worst career decision you have ever made.
Yeah, in terms of best career decision, I think, I started Bond Education very much focused on the education industry projects. And at a certain point, we started getting asked by people in industry. It was a news media company that said, hey, can you come in and help us design some programs for our employees? And I was really hesitant at first because the bulk of my experience, and this was, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago, had been in the education space. But we said yes, and I think that was the best decision I could have made, because since then we've designed education programs for all sorts of industries, from oil and gas to F&B to hospitality to still working in the school space. And what I realized is that people with an education background and educators have real value to give to the business world, and the business world has real value to bring to education. So to be able to, it keeps our team on our toes to constantly be learning about different industries and connecting the dots, because we do a lot of work in the design field, and maybe there's something from design that can inform something we do with equine sports, can inform something we do with oil and gas. So I think that keeps us alive, just constantly thinking about new things. In terms of worst career decisions, I think I can't point to any one specific moment, but I can think about multiple moments. And what they have in common is that I ignored my intuition. So it could have been, I ignored my intuition around maybe there was someone on the team that wasn't a good fit for us, and not letting them off earlier. Or maybe, there was a client that maybe we just weren't the right fit for that client, and ignoring that. So I think, whenever I think as a human and I'm also a mom, and as a business owner, when intuition sort of keeps saying something, it's really important to listen to it, because otherwise I think I tend to regret when I kind of ignore. Yeah.
Thank you, Anna. What about Nadia?
So the best career decision I've made, bar none, was to jump in headfirst into the restaurant business with no prior experience. So I had a job in a different industry with like structured hours and days off and decent pay. And I was feeling a little naive, but mostly brave and adventurous. And I just said yes to the opportunity 7 or 8 years ago. And then, you know, I never looked back. It opened a lot of doors for me. And in terms of the worst career decision, I think I'm yet to make it. I've made a lot of mistakes. Like, I think I still make mistakes every day. But those are lessons. But in terms of something that I deeply regretted or still look back to this day and wish I haven't made, I can't think of anything. But Anna had a really good point. I wholeheartedly agree about not listening to your gut on decisions. Those never end well. Yeah. But nothing I can really name specifically.
Thanks, Nadia. What about Mita?
It's always a bit of both of everybody, especially what Nadia and Anna talked about, which is, you know, not listening to your guts. But I feel my worst and best are always joined together. It's like my worst decisions are the ones that turn out the great, because when I make worst decisions, I make mistakes, and from these mistakes, I come up with something, you know, better. That's all I can say.
Totally agree. Thanks, Anna. Sorry, Mita. I just want to move to our other question. Is how to define the success? Is there any sort of strategy or formula that you are using to become a successful entrepreneurs? I will start with Nadia.
I don't have a general answer for all entrepreneurs, but I will speak based on my experience in the restaurant industry. I think or at least I set, I don't want to say key performance indicators because that's sounds too generic, but really I do set performance targets for myself, whether it's new customers or our current customers purchasing more often, or let's say more follows, more content shares, whatever they may be. And there will be ups and downs week to week. It's not always growth, but as long as the trend is moving in the right direction, like month to month, that's what I look at, whether or not we're being successful.
Thank you, Nadia. We'll move to Anna.
Yeah, so when it comes to success, I guess a couple of points. One, I would say is that my definition of success, so I'll be 40 next year. So, and my definition of success has been very different at each decade. So I don't know the ages of the people on the call, but I would just say that I anticipate that my definition of success 10 years from now will be very different from today. So it's a kind of a moving target. But I would say sort of guidepost for me is when it comes to the business of bond education is, are we adding value? And by value, it means, are we adding value to ourselves? Are we adding value to each other as a team? Are we adding value to our clients? Are we adding value to the world? If those aren't all yes, then there's a major problem in what we're doing. And also, you know, running a business, you have to be financially sustainable. So I would say, you know, our business has different metrics. So I can't just say our KPIs are, you know, revenue and profit. That would be crazy. At first, we very much focus on, you know, lives touched and impact and things like that. But you know, running a business, you do have to be sustainable. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. So yeah, those are my thoughts on success.
Thank you, Anna. Azza, if you would like to share some.
Sure. For me, success of my business or success in itself has evolved as an entrepreneur. I mean, being an artist and being an entrepreneur are two different things totally. And my first success was being able to find a way as an artist to generate income other than from my art. So to me, that was the part of me listening to people around me. I realized from early, like when I came back in 2002, a lot of people wanted made in UAE design, and they wanted gifts and trophies. And I think being able to segregate myself as an artist in one box, and as a, you know, entrepreneur and a designer in the other, gave me, that was the first success, because it was something I totally didn't believe in as an artist. I enjoyed making one-off pieces, and, you know, just trying to understand the business of how I can succeed to continue being an artist that doesn't work for anybody who does art full-time, was a big part in where I am today. And now, after 15 years, I was able to evolve a business that produced bespoke gifts and trophies for special events in the country. And I was able to evolve over the years. And it was only mainly because I was able to listen and hear what my customers wanted. And I think a lot of people say, we're always afraid to work with artists. They get very upset. You know, there's this kind of stigma about us. And I tell them, I'm here now as your you know, designer. I'm not hurt for you to say anything. I need to make you happy. So I think they become very relaxed and happy about that. And I think it's a totally different thing to create your art and to be critiqued about it than to manage your business and to have satisfied customers in the end of the day. And yeah, so I fully would say my success is all because I was able to evolve and listen to my customers.
That's great, Azza. Thanks for sharing. Any input from Meta as well?
Well, what I can say is that even though that I don't have like a certain business like Anna or Azza or Nadia, but at the same time, I do provide products and I do some services. But when I first started as a writer, I thought, okay, I published my first book, and then what? What do I do? I thought that the publishers or the bookshops will start doing, you know, the marketing my book. And even though that is mentioned in the contract that they do some marketing and sell the books, but they can't fully focus only on your book. So I felt that I had to do more than just rely on publishers and distributors. And I thought maybe the best person to market his own product or service is the person himself who did this. So I started to work on myself and went out to schools, and I started, you know, showing my face and being, you know, strict with my. I disciplined myself in a way that when someone asks me to come over, I come, and I really present things in a professional way. I demand how I want to be presented, and I show them what are the outcomes and what they will get from if like, for example, they invite me for a storytelling. And when I always promise them that it's not about just selling the book. I'm not here to sell the book. My objective is to really enlighten and really tap into, you know, that imagination of a child. I really want to inspire these children. So I felt it's kind of what Azza is saying and what Anna is saying about, you know, customers are listening and really, really opening your ears like an elephant and going wherever you are, just listening to what people are saying about your things and then working on how to improve them. But at the same time, if I'm always not content with providing things in a normal way. So, offering my services in a creative way is always what my main my purpose. And how can I really allow the child to be immensely engaged in the story? And because I am a woman who covers herself, I felt that this will not be restricting. I don't want to, allow the children to see that how I look is going to restrict me from allowing them to really feel engaged in a story. So it was a restriction, but at the same time, it was like a creativity box. It enabled me to go out of the box and do something really crazy when I try and do storytellings for children. And at the end of the day, it became my own brand. And now I use it as my avatar. And it's like a superhero character that the children love to, connect with.
That's really nice, Nathan. Thanks for sharing. Just I would, if you will tell me, like, what kind of education or training or skill do you think that you need to be where you are today? So let's start with Anna.
I thought it was for me.
Okay, so I guess at the end of the day, I have a few roles. So one, I'm a learning designer. Two, I'm an education consultant. And three, I'm a leader of a small, a small team, but we service a lot of clients. So in terms of training, I have a degree, 2 degrees, and one is in international and comparative education. I am certified as an executive coach. Both of those gave me good grounding in the field, and I took classes in I took classes in education consulting in grad school. Bizarrely, like that was even a class that was offered. But I would say most of my education and training has been around servicing clients. I mean, for now 11 years, we've had a variety of clients, and at the end of the day, if we're not adding value and solving problems and helping them, we're not doing our job. So the best education has really been doing projects on the job. And in the UAE, we've done projects in different countries, but in the UAE, we've literally done projects from like the tip of Ras Al Khaimah all the way to Al Dafra. And it's so fascinating to work on projects in all of the little towns across the country, and each has unique opportunities and challenges. So I would say the best experience in preparation has been just being on the job.
Thanks, Anna. I would love to hear from Nadia.
So my background is in marketing. I have a marketing degree, and it actually turned out to be really useful in my career because I have always been interested in customer behavior and in the consumer experience. So when I first started my first day at the first restaurant, I just showed up with a notebook and a pen, and I had no idea what I was doing. But I observed everything and just wrote it down. So everything the kitchen was doing, how the customer was ordering, how we were bringing the food, how we were clearing the table, and I would just write for days and then just try to improve on the whole process. So marketing or consumer behavior and experience was always like of interest to me. So I was kind of prepared for that. But like Anna said, the other part of it is just being on the job. There was no substitute for it. I've never worked in a restaurant before. I don't have family that owned restaurants or cafes or any F&B businesses. So it was a little bit of education, a little bit of passion, and a little bit of hands-on experience. I learned as I went along.
Yeah, that's great. Now it's continuous learning. Thanks for sharing. Just like if Azza would like to add some.
Well, for me, I would agree for both what Nadia and Anna just said. Um, a big part of me, I would feel the education was definitely important. I mean, I did BA in jewelry and silversmithing and allied craft. That was very important for me to get the confidence to learn the techniques and to be able to express myself. But even afterwards, I did an MA in culture and creative industry. But in the end of the day, the skills I gained are the skills of investigating and learning from my mistakes, from going at it and just discovering my own pathway. A lot of the things, I mean, there was nobody I would be able to go back to and consult with in my field as the first person in the field as a jewelry artist in the UAE. It was very difficult because when I saw on the other spectrum, people would buy jewelry and the other option is going to a jewelry shop and asking them. It was totally different kind of business to my business, which is creating one-off wearable art. So to me, it was definitely, it was a good foundation, the education I got, but it was taking all the different workshops and courses as well that were offered through the Abu Dhabi Businesswoman or the Chamber of Commerce. There was a lot offered on how to manage your time and skills that I probably didn't have as an artist, but I needed as a business person. And it evolved, but definitely the real world and the listening to your customers is, I learned a lot out of that.
Thanks. Azza, any input from Meko?
The thing that I would like to say is that I'd really like to mention this because I feel, I think a lot of the people, our guests here would really, they might take something from it, is that when I graduated from high school, I didn't know what I was going to be. I never knew that I would be an author, ever. I never decided I want to be an author. When I graduated from high school, I went to Dad and I told him, now what do I do? Which college do I study? I don't know what to study. I don't know anything. So he decided that I go to the higher colleges of technology in Ras Al Khaimah. Why? Because I was really good in English, and he knew that if I went to a university that most of the subjects were in Arabic, I will really, really hate it. So he advised me to go to the higher colleges of technology because the medium of study was in English. And the only specializations available at that time were either IT, business, or management. And I didn't know anything of these. I didn't want any of these. But because everything was in English, I was happy. I was happy and, content for a while until I was inspired by a really wonderful instructor. Penny Archer is her name. And I just fell in love with business. And my dad he was so happy. He was ecstatic, that I'm taking business because he enjoyed business as well. So I feel, and I graduated in business with flying colors, and it's not related at all to illustration and to writing at the same time. But I feel it was really the perfect foundation for me because it allowed me to find a niche and tap into, my strengths and weaknesses. And from that, decide what I really wanted to be. So I guess, it was the best, qualification that I had was, taking business. And at the same time afterwards, when I really discovered what I wanted to be and I became an official author and children's illustrator, I was not content. I started to find different ways to really improve myself in my career, whether it's, learning or being self-taught or attending workshops, going out there, finding people with the same interest, mingling and networking so that I can gain and at the same time help whatever I can.
Thanks for sharing, Smita. So I just want to hear from you, like, if you had the chance to start overall again, what you will do differently? We will start this time with Nadia.
Um, this is a good one. If I could start all over again, I would remind myself to breathe because I've been really hard on myself throughout this process. For example, I was on a phone call yesterday with my mentor and he tried to praise me and I didn't know how to accept it. Like I don't know how to accept praise. And I think I've been like that since day one. And I think that's the first thing is I'll just give myself a break and acknowledge the wins instead of being so hard on myself. And I think the second thing I would do is learn how to delegate faster. It took me a while. It took me a long time to realize that it's okay to share responsibility and not feel guilty about it, because there's something about not handling everything was somehow tied to guilt that I wasn't doing enough. So that took a few years, but lessons learned, and that's something I know better now. And that's advice I would give to anyone starting off is don't be so hard on yourself, celebrate your wins, and don't try to do everything by yourself.
Thank you, Nadia. It's really valid point. Thanks for sharing. We'll go next with Anna.
Nadia, I smiled internally because I used to have real issues with accepting praise. And I remember my coach said to me, start by saying thank you, and then don't say anything else. Just accept it. Because it was usually, thank you, but blah, blah, blah. So just, and then she would just say thank you. Stop there. In terms of if I would start over, I think this happens. So when I started Bond Education, I started it primarily because I started in 2008. There weren't any jobs in the area that I wanted to be working in. So it was just mainly a vehicle for doing work that I wanted as an individual. And then over time, we've grown our team. I wasn't thinking about business models back then at all. And now that I've taken a number of business classes since then, I think I would start with a clearer business model in mind and set up the business a bit more for scale. Also, just the name, we're called Bond Education, but we do so much work outside of education. So I think I would rename, I would just call us Bond, because that allows for more possibility. And then starting over, the other thing I've learned over time is that I used to think in consulting that clients had something in their mind that they wanted, and our job was to go figure out how to make that happen. But what I've learned over time, and I think this is the same, I've learned this through coaching individuals, so I think it's the same at the individual level as well as the organization level. Most people don't really know what they want, or we often think in sort of, only 2 or 3 options, but really there's like infinite possibility. And so I'm getting more courage over time to approach organizations, and our team is getting more courage over time to say, hey, we think the world needs this, or we think the community needs this. Have you thought about this? Why don't we work together to create this? So almost going to people and proposing ideas as opposed to always making a pizza specifically to their order, because maybe they don't want pizza, like maybe they want biryani, like, so it's and they don't know it, right? So just being a bit more courageous and creative from the start, which takes courage and confidence. Yeah.
Thanks, Anna. Any inputs from Azza?
Yeah, I don't think I would do anything differently. Maybe take a little bit more breaks and enjoy life better. I think in the beginning, or up to now, to me, my clients are the first thing. So I would put them, Sometimes we would had to do jobs last minute, not sleep. It's definitely something I don't want to continue doing, but it's something that I think I enjoyed doing early on in the beginning of establishing my business. But I think definitely breathing is one of them, and taking time off is very important, and realizing the difference that I'm creating, appreciating my own self before even allowing people to appreciate me. But I think appreciating my, what I'm doing and what I'm contributing is also vital, because I never saw anything I did as enough. And I think you only learn that with time, and it took me a long time to learn that. But yeah, I think definitely maybe connecting and staying in touch with certain people to reflect is very important. That's something sometimes we forget to do. And listening to my gut for certain decisions is definitely important. Sometimes you know it, you just don't do it in the right time. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Azza. We would love to hear now from Mita.
Oh, it's the same thing as all these lovely ladies. Taking a break, breathing, accepting, praise. I wouldn't have done anything different. I don't think I would have, because I consider myself like I'm in a story right now, and one action leads to another, and it doesn't stop. So you have to continue and adapt while you are, in the adventure, or think of it as an adventure. I don't think I would have done anything different, any decisions that I've made, except the ones that my peers has mentioned, like just really take some time off, watch a show, go to the salon, do some shopping, like normal women would do. Sometimes, I would only go to the salon twice a year, and my friends would really hate me for that. So this is the only thing that I would like to, the things that I would have, done differently. It's just spending more time with my friends and my family, and going out and having fun like other mothers do.
Thanks for sharing, Mita. I think should be one of our plans moving forward.
Please.
So I think some of you already touched base on this question given to the current COVID-19 situation. So how you are planning on your business growth? So I would love to hear more from Nadia.
So a little bit of background info. I opened a bakery and a cafe at the same time. So the bakery was just the baking, and then we would supply our cafe and the greens. And then revenue was hit really hard from March onwards. Obviously, we were under lockdown, and then it was a curfew, social distancing. We're in a mall, so families to this day can't come together. So no like grandparents, no children. And we're like a brunchy type of place, so it's really affected everything. And as of June 1st, the cafe has shut down. So we are now just a bakery, and we're like pivoting to online ordering. At least that's what I wanted to do. So I had to be more flexible in how I'm willing to deal with our customers. So, when we had the cafe, it was easy to say no to a lot of opportunities. Like we can pick and choose. We can't do that anymore. So we are looking at nationwide shipping for all the Emirates for our bread, for example, which wasn't necessary before. But now it might be like survive or shut down again. It might make that difference. So we're looking at nationwide shipping. We also didn't want the bakery to be a place where customers could come and collect, because we thought that would be too messy operations wise, because it's bakers baking at night, not a lot of staff during the day. And then as soon as we opened, we found out that more than half of our customers prefer to pick up themselves. So we immediately changed that. So since behaviors are changing, right now we have to listen and adapt really fast, more than before. And just before we would take suggestions and either I mean, we'd listen to all suggestions always, but if it made sense, we would probably take it into account. And if it didn't, we were just grateful for the feedback anyway. But now it's every piece of feedback matters and everything counts. So we're just listening and adapting, and finding new ways to distribute all over the country, find ways to make it easier for people to collect from us, find new items we can sell. For example, I heard and saw for myself that flour disappeared off the shelves in grocery stores. And to this day, it's really hard to find a variety of flour. So it's something we weren't interested in doing before, but in a couple of weeks, once we finalize our packaging, we're going to be selling flour, specialty flour, to home bakers. So I think everyone's mentioned before that you need to listen to your customers, but I mean, now is the time that, it means everything for the business.
Well, thank you, Nadia, for sharing. But I think there is like a really good planning in ground, and being flexible with your and listening to your customer is really valid and important. So I would love to hear from Anna.
Nadia, you make me think of my mom, because like a month, she's based in the US, and I'd say a month ago, she was like, I want to bake bread and there's no yeast anywhere. And she resolved this conflict because she got my uncle in Texas to ship her yeast from Texas to Virginia, which is a really long way for yeast to go. But yeah, it's a good intuition there on the specialty flours. In terms of COVID, so yeah, we've had to, I think like all businesses everywhere, we've had to pivot. So a lot of what we do is developing learning content and educational content for clients, and running programs. So all of the programs that we've run for clients, from banking to oil and gas to design to product, we've shifted all of those programs online. And that's been a smooth transition. But I think moving forward, in our world, our sales cycle is more in kind of 6 to 18 month segments. So because to tee up a large scale consulting project that impacts youth across all the Emirates, like that's not a quick sale. So I think where I'm just trying to think about, Q4, Q1, Q2 of next year, and getting projects ready for that. I think also what COVID has shown is it's really important. I think about 2 years ago, we strategically chose to diversify industries so that we were working across different industries. So that's been important, and we will continue to do that. I really want to diversify geographies now. So I'm taking more speculative calls with people in Saudi and Bahrain and Kuwait. And I've always dreamed of doing a project in Singapore. So I'm starting to talk to people in Singapore too. So I think really just diversification, and also I think where there's huge opportunity for us is helping people go online, because that's a space we've worked in for a very long time. And then also helping people think about engagement, especially in the digital space, which is a space we've been problem solving for a long time. So I think we can help people with those. So that's what we're thinking now. Ask me again in 6 months. I'm sure my answer will be different.
Yeah, thanks. And I would love to hear from Azza or Maitha.
Well, for me, my business revolves around all the festivals and events. So literally, when COVID hit, all the events were canceled. The ones I had already received LPOs continued, so I produced them in March, and they were received in April, depending on the schedules. But the usual orders, because most of my clients are yearly clients for yearly events. So all the events that I should have supplied for in April and May, they're all have been canceled. So literally, I had all this time to just think of new ideas and how I can engage, because to me it used to be physical. It used to be being in festivals, doing all these workshops, engaging with the community, other than just selling trophies and the gifts itself. So to me, at the moment, I think me and my team, we had enough time to evaluate where in the past I enjoyed working with organizations. Now I am open to working with individuals with their gifts, even if it's a one piece, which I didn't really enjoy doing that, because I was so happy designing one piece and producing 200 pieces for an event. It used to be, it allowed me to have more time with me being an artist and a mother. But now to cater for individual people is an option which I am also opening up to more than I thought I would ever. So less choices and more about what customers want. And venturing into doing workshops online is something that I'm already prepared kits, and I'm launching probably by next week. So it's a new thing. I don't know how it will go. I'm a hands-on physical person, so I don't know how the virtual world will work for me. But in the end of the day, as long as I'm communicating with people and engaging and I see their faces, then I think it will satisfy a part of me, and will definitely be, just going through a new experience. And I think for me, it is one of the ways for me to continue keeping ends meeting and reducing the costs and overheads that I used to encounter. So maybe it will be something that will continue being part of my business and evolution.
That's really great. And I'm already excited to hear from all of you. I would love to hear from Meta as well.
I'm kind of like Azza. All the school visits have been cancelled. All the festivals and the book fairs that I was involved in were, put off and laid off. I was also excited to go to Bologna Book Fair, but then I had so many deals that I was going to make, and then it was all, cut off. But even though all these things stopped and I wasn't able to continue with them, and I lost a few money from that, but it was a really great time for me, because it was time for me to catch up on the things that I have been really procrastinating. Some of the books that I was planning to illustrate, some of the books that I needed to finish completing and writing. So I had ample time to finish all these projects that were taking so long because I'm like a bumblebee going from one place to another, to Abu Dhabi, Sharjah, Dubai. And I'm from Ras Al Khaimah. I'm based in Ras Al Khaimah. So in 1 week, I would, jump from one emirate to another. So the COVID actually, when it happened, really gave me some time to breathe and take a break and focus on the really things that I should have finished a long time ago. But in terms of, continuing onwards and, and learning from this, I felt that I needed to become more tech savvy, because you need to know all these online skills and technical skills, because I was accessible physically, but now I have to be accessible online. So these are the things that I'm trying to learn right now, so that I can still provide what I love doing for kids, which is, writing and illustrating, and at the same time, reading to them.
Thank you, everyone. That's really exciting. So I think we are almost with our last question. I would love to hear, what are 2 factors should our young women consider when they are starting off their career? So I would love to hear from Rita.
For me, okay. I think the main two factors to be successful is to, I think number one is to really love what you are doing. I think that's the main factor, because when people ask me, so are you making money, you know, out of selling books? And I tell them, no, I don't make that much money. It doesn't feed you. But because I love doing it so much, I have been consistent, and I was able to provide and offer more books. And, you know, even though I wasn't getting much from them, but because I was loving what I was doing and enjoying it as well, in the long run, it has become a professional career. Whereas I don't only rely on selling the books, but also selling my services, which is mainly where I get most of, you know, my income. It's just providing, you know, services like storytelling, workshops, training. These are the things. But I did not get this unless I was really passionate and really loved my work. And the other thing is really being consistent and reliable, because this is what clients want. You have to be professional, and if you are consistent in your, you know, in your product and service, and you're really reliable and stick to, you know, the contract and the agreement, then, like Azza said, they would not put the stigma on artists that, oh, they're so emotional and they just, you know, they get upset quickly. No, you have to, you know, take away emotions away and just really be a professional, because it's work at the end of the day, and you really have to satisfy your client. And in my case, satisfy my readers, the little ones.
Thank you so much, Meta. And I think we are almost out of the time. I don't know, like if Azza or Nadi or Anna would like to just quickly just give some two factors that if you would love to share.
I'll share. I think similar to Meta, you need to find something that's really interesting to you. I think interest carries people forward. And the other thing I would say is really think about the lifestyle you want to live, like, because I knew that I would be happiest if I had flexibility over my time. And I don't really like it when people tell me what time of day to work. So I'm very happy to work at 10 p.m. at night or on a Saturday. But I don't necessarily like being told when, because I have 3 children, and I love to do yoga, and I like to be able to, you know, do those other things as well. And so, you know, think about who you are as a person, and do you thrive? Some people really strive in the structure of a 9 to 6 job, and other people really struggle with that structure. And that's a really important question to know about yourself. Like, what degree of structure do I want? How do I see my work life interacting with my family life? What income do I want? Because those things will help determine, you know, the choices that you make.
Well, thank you, everyone. And as I mentioned, we are almost out of the time. Thank you so much for attending today's webinar, Women at Work series. We will post a recording of this webinar in our YouTube and podcast channels in a few days. We will share the link with everyone who attended today. Thanks again for attending. And when you leave this webinar, you will see a link of survey on today's session. It will be highly appreciated if you can just spend 3 minutes to fill out the survey to give us your feedback. If it's your first time as well with Al Khaimah Foundation events, it will also give an opportunity to receive communication on a future Women at Work and upcoming events. On behalf of Al Khaimah Foundation, I would love to thank all our great speakers for all their insights, and for the audience for attending and joining the webinar. Thank you, everyone, and have a great, lovely day. Thank you.